This video is about applying PBR textures to our objects. What are PBR? PBR stands for physically based render, which means that you can get a lot more realistic render for your for your meshes. So let's just have a look at here. I'm going to download, which I actually have downloaded to show you where. Textures.com, and you come here, PBRbMaterials. Okay, and some of them, you can download free textures here, and the one for this for this tutorial, I've done the stone cladding. So let's have a look what this is all about. So this is what we're going to be creating using just these textures here. They're called Pbr Textures. So why is it important for games? Because using these textures, this one we are currently downloading, and it's ready to use, so we can use that, meaning that we can have very low polygon meshes, very low poly meshes, and we use textures to look like a high poly. And the same way we are using these textures here in Blender, we can create as well our own PBR textures, which means that we can model in high poly and then apply. So using a process called baking, we can bake these textures and apply to a low poly, and the low poly will look pretty much the same, or almost the same as the high poly, making your game really more effective and more, you need that for your game to run properly. You don't want any high poly. So there you go. So let's have a look what that means. So we have here, this is a stone wall. So what we have, when you see albedo, it's the color texture. Yeah, so this is the color texture. There's no lighting information here at all, so it's just pure color. And then we have a normal map. You've been learning about the normal map as well. That's really important, because this is one of the main things we're going to use from high poly to low poly, right? Because by applying the normal map, you give the illusion that it gives this bumpiness without having to increase the geometry. Okay, and then we have this one is the roughness. It means how glossy and non-glossy the object, your material is. Of course, this is a brick wall, a stone wall. So here is the height map. I'm not going to cover too much. I'm going to show you how it works. But the height map means is we use for displacement. So we get our object and apply displacement texture. In this case, however, for displacement, you need to increase your geometry. Yeah, so I'll show you how it works, but we're going to be really focusing on the normal maps for games. Okay, but displacement map can be very useful, but you have to be careful when using it, because you need to increase geometry. And then ambient occlusion, so again, as we saw before, this is the close shadow. Yeah, so we're going to use this information, so we don't need to use our lighting to increase the shadow information. We're going to use this as an overlay on top of our color texture, which is our albedo texture. So we're going to use multiply in Blender. I'll show you now. So let's go to Blender then and do this. So we go here to Blender. I'm going to remove this cube. Going to just add a plane and just scale a little bit the plane. And before I do anything, I'm just going to go and change my render resolution, so it's going to be quicker to 800 to 600. I mean, you can put whatever you like. And I'm going to create a material I call stone texture. All right, stone material, really. Stone wall. We're going to call it stone wall. Okay, and then the other thing I want to do is just have a look at this slide. Let me come here to my I'll go viewport shading, sorry, and then I'm just gonna put maybe an area light. An area light is an light that is a shape. So in this case, it can be rectangular. You have here shape rectangle, square. You can have a square one. So you can come here, actually create the size, and here you can move around. So let's have a look here. So if you do that, yeah, you can see here, right? So I'm just gonna apply, and maybe I don't need to, it's 500 or maybe 300 watts. Okay, so I just need that so I can show you once we start applying the texture. So I leave that light there, and I'm going to my shading. In my shading, I select my object, and that's my texture there I've just created. So what we're going to do, we're going to create some image texture nodes to apply our textures that we downloaded. So image texture, I'm going to put it here, 1, and then a Shift D to duplicate. Just go here. I think I need about 5 or 6. So here, and duplicate there. Oops. All right, okay. So this one is going to be for the height textures. I'm going to show you later. So the first thing we're going to do is to load our color texture. So I'm going to my Pbr texturing, and it's brickstone cladding albedo. Let's just have a look how this looks. So I'm going to connect this. This is a color texture. So here in color space, we leave it as RGB, and then connect to our base color, and that we see. As you can see, it doesn't look any realistic at all. It's just the color information and nothing else, right? Okay, so leave it at for now. Here I'm going to open my ambient occlusion, which is AO, stonecladding.AO. So these are 1K maps. Yeah, so 1024 by 1024. Oh, sorry, I don't need that. Don't want to do this. Okay, I just connect now to the base color so you can see what ambient occlusion does. So that's what how it looks like. So I want to use this on top of my albedo texture and give a multiply effect. So just to take the dark areas, just like in Photoshop. So how are we going to do this? First of all, because this is an ambient occlusion, I need to add an ambient occlusion node. Yeah. Okay. And then I connect the color to the base color. Let's have a look what it looks like. Yeah, it's working. I just need to inform this is an ambient occlusion. There's no color information, so we just put non-color here. Now I need to mix these two, yeah, in order, because I only have one node in base color, so I need to mix the two textures. So I'm going to add a mix RGB node here, and I'm going to connect my ambient occlusion in color 1 and my albedo in color 2, and let me just show you this, how it looks. Right, this doesn't look like something I want to do. So what's going on here? For now, this mix saying either if it's 0, it's only the color 1 that is displayed, and if it's 1, the color 2. So, or you live in the middle is kind of a mix of the two. It's not what we want, but so instead of mix, we want here to use multiply. Just bear with me a second. Okay. So there you go. I need to control here. Let me just see if you can use color band, and you can use all sorts of different effects if you like. As you can see. Yeah, I think that, sorry, the color, you need to leave here the actual sRGB. Okay, right, so now it's working. Okay, so you will leave it at 1 because we want the entire display to be our beader and our ambient occlusion just on top of it as a multiply layer. So that you have our results. If I remove that, you can see the difference. Okay, so that gives already a lot of information there to make the texture look better. So now we're going to go for the next texture. Let's have a look what we have. We're going to not height at the moment. I'm going to my roughness. And the roughness, I'm going to connect to our roughness. Let's have a look how it works. So now that I'm here, I just end up putting viewport shading here. So you can see. Let's remove the roughness. You see, if I increase the roughness and decrease, this is obviously, yeah, it's about how shiny, glossy the object is. Yeah. And I'm going to put my roughness here now, and it's controlling that information. So obviously this is stone wall. It's not supposed to be rough, but there's something that's not working just yet here. Why is that? Because in this case, actually, we don't want any color information. So it's a non-color. There you go. So now there's no glossiness here. Yeah. Okay. Right. So this is our roughness, and the next one we're going to open is one of the most ones we're going to be using, which is the normal map. You know how to use this. We've done it before. So what we need in order to add a normal map is you need a normal map node, and then you, again, there is no color information. You need to make sure this is known color. I apply the color here to my normal, and the normal to my shader. So then here I can control. See, if I go really high, it gets really the normal map. It looks weird. So you need to find the right thing. So imagine that as a wall on your game, on the floor. This is really nice. And what we have here is one face. You know, 4 vertices, one face. So it's really, really low poly. So that's the importance of normal map. This is how important the thing is. Yeah. Now, what else do I have? I think I put one more. Now I'm going to show you how to deal with the height map. So the height map means that I will need more geometry. So with the normal map, you have this bumpiness look and feel. The height map, you actually, using the texture, you can actually create distortion. Yeah. So in this case, the height map, you can control here. one important thing for the height map, you have, in order to see the height map, you need to be rendering in cycles and not Eve. So you have to come to cycles. The other thing you need to do is to come down here and go to your material and come down into, where is it? It's in, oh, I wasn't in material, sorry. There you go, settings. And then I come down to bump only, or say displacement and bump. So this is not going to work. Why? Because it's going to try to displace, which is cause a distortion in the object. Yeah. So for that I need geometry, and I only have one face. So this is definitely not going to work, but I'm going to show you. Let me show you what we need to do. So I go, first of all, I need to add a displacement map node, displacement node, and I come here and connect the color. Again, there is no color information here, and then go into my displacement. It jumped all somewhere else because of this information here. So height is looking for the height. Just leave it. I'm going to leave it 0 for now. Mid-level and scale, but it's trying to actually just use this material to displace, but there is no, not material, this mesh, and there is no information. So let's go to layouts. I'll show you what I mean. Before I do that, let's just remove, disconnect here for now. Okay, I come here. Let's come. I'm going to subdivide. So let's say I'm going to come here in edit mode, and I'm going to create some loop cuts. I don't know, 6, and then 6. Well, 10. Let's say something like this, right? It's still not enough. You see, I'm already increasing quite a lot my geometry here. So go back to object mode, yeah, and go to not UV shading, sorry. And then if I now connect this displacement, mid-level 0, yeah, I can see, get very close to it. I think, sorry, I'm connected to the wrong place. I need to connect to the height. Yes, it went completely crazy because it's actually, this scale is 0.6. So let's put 0.2. There you go. So if I put, look, up at 0, yeah, and then I start going to 0.2. But again, I still don't have enough information. It's trying to kind of using that texture to create a shape in my mesh, but I don't have enough geometry. So let's just put 0.5, for example. Okay, let's leave it like that. And then I'm going to go to this object and I'm going to apply subdivision surface, like simple. Yeah, something like that. And then I can come here 0.2, for example. That it's giving me a lot more definition here. But you see, in order to use the displacement, you need to have a high poly. So that's why you have to be very careful. The whole point of this exercise is that we want to be low poly. Okay, there you go. That's it. So let's have a go back here, and I'm just going to press F12 now, just to get out there. My computer's struggling a little bit. I'm going to render without the displacement. Let's remove the normal and press F12. Okay. So now we're not using our normal maps, we're only using our color texture and our ambient occlusion. Yeah, it looks pretty flat. It's not what we want, okay? But now I'll show you very low poly. You apply the normal map, you just connect the normal there, and let me just get this. So in slot 2, I'm going to F12 again, press F12 to render now with my normal. And my normal here is at 1.1. Yeah, so you can see already the difference. And of course I can make it this higher, but I think 1.1 is fine to me. So that's it. Slot 1, slot 2, see? And then now I'm going to connect my displacement, and I'm rendering in cycles, and F12. So how you use the PBR is very important. If you are doing for games and you really want low poly, don't worry about using the displacement. You have to think about where your objects are going to be placed in the game and so on, and you can make some decisions. But this now with the displacement is quite high poly. When you use just normal maps for the bumpiness, you can do it very low poly. Yeah. Okay, so that's all for this video now, and I see you in the next video. There you go. This is our, let me just finish this render. Oh, I actually render on slot 2, so I won't be able to compare. Okay, have a go at this, and I see you in the next video.